up slightly. There we go. I think they'll end up being better. Alright. This is going to be good. Oh, you know what? There's one more setting I wanted to adjust. I think I can do it live. Hang on. That should be a little better. We'll see. Alright. Okay. This is gonna be cool. So, Final Fantasy 3. I did the first kind of mini thing during my stream test the other day, and I'm just gonna be okay with that. I made my little splashy image thing that appears on the right, and now I'm gonna be starting. And this is going to be interesting. It's kind of a break from Final Fantasy V. I insist I'm going to go back to that to beat Omega and Shinryu, but yeah, this is going to be fun. I haven't actually beaten this game, and it's not a bad game. So this is going to be pretty good fun. I noticed recently there were a couple mods available on Steam for this, so I really might consider that. Okay, sure. So you can see my intention is to make Luneth a black mage. So I don't know, maybe I'll give him a staff. That would probably be more suitable. Well, I could also bring a dagger, right? He can actually equip bows. Doesn't seem, you know, typical to the series though, so I don't know if I'm gonna bother with that. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saving my money for something. I really have no idea. Maybe that's a better idea until I kind of figure things out. He's a black mage. I feel okay about outfitting him with a little bit of black magic, even while he's oh, never mind. I was going to say, well, he's a freelancer. They're briefly a freelancer. I don't have any crystal-based jobs yet, and the jobs were kind of similar in this game to Final Fantasy V. So, yeah. This game, the encounters were pretty big back in the day of the Famicom. You could have like 8 enemies appearing on screen at a time. You're telling me to zoom in? Can I pinch the screen? Oh. I don't have my secondary screen, if that matters. I never played this on DS. I played it on mobile. And never finished it. The main reason I never finished it is I got a bit of a perfectionist problem. And I wanted to do that thing where you get 909 HP. So I was playing pretty slowly and with a lot of leveling. And considering I was on mobile, and I have young kids and all, I was mostly playing like right before bed. And when you do that, you just, like, level grinding in bed tends to mean you fall asleep. Not necessarily a bad thing, but... Oh, here's all the stuff I just bought, I bet. I was told that there were people up north making a ruckus, wasn't I? Maybe I'm tripping. They're over here? They're over here. Is it my good friend Ark? I basically chose the jobs I did for the characters based on how easy it would be to have cute sprites of them in my image. Looks like they didn't scale. Oopsie doodle. Eh. Ah. I'm keeping the default names. I was considering forcing like Final Fantasy V names, but there's no real point in that. These are real characters after all. Final Fantasy I's a bit of a different story. I wouldn't mind propping this a teensy bit more. Alright. Signature. Showing up really big on the stream. What's happening? What? Is this like Healing Spring? Oh, it is. Nice. So why is there an inn in this town? To deceive me? I guess maybe people need a place to stay. It's realism. He has tiny eyes. And am I supposed to leave without Arc? I don't remember. Why would I remember? I didn't remember freaking anything in the other game. Oh, that was quite a journey I just had. So it says in the description there, like the jobs in this game aren't in the Famicom version, and many of them were linear upgrades. They weren't designed to be useful for endgame play, and that includes the White Mage and Black Mage because there's upgraded versions of White Mage and Black Mage in this game. So I'm gonna treat Arc like a White Mage. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's really easy to two-hand in this game. May as well until we get real jobs, right? Sure. Doesn't matter, does it? The beginning of this game is really easy because you don't have anything, and so they account for that. You might have noticed in the first cave, it was pretty simple, and that was with one character. Nice of them to put these friendly springs in all these towns. That's significant, sort of, fairly. We're not supposed to have met Refia yet, are we? I maybe should have bought that Poisana. Oh well. Holy crap, this was a bad idea. Whoa. Okay, I wasn't supposed to come in here, is what I've learned. Okay, looks like I'm gonna be repeating a little bit. Goodness. Okay. So... Man, the controls on this are so much better than Final Fantasy V. It's really quite amazing how much better they are. Nothing feels awkward. You just push the buttons and they do the things you're expecting them to do. Remember me saying that the game starts off really easy? I didn't really demonstrate that very well, did I? This guy takes a very long time to demonstrate to me how that candle thing works, but I guess that's fine. So in this game you gain job levels by taking actions in combat, and it's more measured in actions than experience points, sort of. You take a certain number of actions, you gain a job level. Job levels matter, but it's not going to matter until I get some jobs. So I'm certainly not going to pay much attention to how I grind, if that's a thing, then until I have jobs. And you can see my first two characters are White Mage and Black Mage, so that's interesting. I did kind of a Franken-sprite thing with them. With Lunith, at least. I think it looks okay. Okay, I'm not going to go in the Mithril Mines yet. Does that seem reasonable? Dual wielding in this game is commonplace. Nothing special about it, so wielding two daggers isn't some non-black mage thing. I could act like it is, but I don't see why I would do that, so. Looks kind of cool, too. A job level. That's exciting. Job level matters quite a bit in this game. Melee damage is certainly affected by it. A lot of the individual job skills are affected by it. I might need to talk to more of these spirit guys in some level more detail. Why is everyone meowing? Boy, my frame rate sure looks bad on the stream. Oh well. What do you want from me? The color also looks much richer on the stream than it does in the game. I wonder why that would possibly be. Ark's hair looks redder. Oh yeah, we talked to that guy. Oh yeah, I should probably outfit Ark. Thought about making Lunith the knight, but Ingus is the knight in Record Keeper, and that's as good a basis to go by as any. I mean, the characters all behave identically. Ah. Return. They just called that key enter. I always found it strange how early you got the airship in this game. Normally, like, well, from Final Fantasy 1, it was kind of an epic turning point in the game with a big, series of events leading up to the acquisition of the airship. And it was similar in Final Fantasy 4, which of course I played first. 5, 6. Okay, don't go in the mines, don't go in the mines, don't go in the mines. I say to myself, sure that I'm gonna do something stupid. May as well save, too. Yeah, there's a mod available for making the menu behave less like a mobile game. Oh, goodness. I could see that being valuable. I feel like I could probably make a mithril ring if it meant uncursing my entire city. I like that she has an angry face during her official introduction. She is kind of the tough one in the group. Sure. We're like right outside the first village and we got the airship. I don't think it flies over mountains even though, no. It's pretty much the lamest airship ever. The message speed is odd. I have it set to fast, I see, but sometimes it goes fast and sometimes it goes slow, it seems. Oh, I hope these aren't as strong as the ones in the mithril mines. Hmm. I think it might just be that that red wisp is a defensive enemy. Maybe not. Okay. No, we're just crappy level 1 characters. Super crappy level 1 characters. I like the idea of dual wielding 2 large wooden staves. No, that works for me. I wonder if I was supposed to be grinding on the world map or something, because that was common back in the days of this game's original release. Automatic retargeting. Fancy. I wonder if I'm going to gain a whole bunch of levels after this. That would be a treat. Especially since I'm using all my charges of magic. This is like some epic battle. It's like my 4th battle. Boy, I didn't realize Lunith was only level 2. Okay, let's get out of here. We will come back when we're a little more prepared. Easy to talk tough when you're a ghost. I say, that's all theoretical. Could end up with encounters over here. I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world. I could always run. Plus, relatively few things are the end of the world. That's a nice secret. Well done. So my black mage is Lunith. I'm okay with him going ahead and acting like it now. That's a lot of money considering the stage of the game I'm at. Okay. I don't remember the significance of that, but it would seem to be significant. I kind of like that transition. It's a weird name. He's not, in practice, significantly stronger, or I don't believe any is stronger. I don't know if he starts with an extra level or two, but... When in Rome. Does he have a level? He's level 4. Whoop-de-doo. With those 2 longswords, though, he'll probably be quite a bit stronger in practice. Still, it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe kill some goblins. Oh. Actually, it turns out all my existing characters are stronger than Ingus because they have a couple job levels, and that affects their ability to hit. Not by some huge amount or anything, but... No dashing on the overworld, huh? Oh. Well, I'd really like to heal us all. Yeah, Rufia didn't get healed by it. Okay, we're gonna walk back to the first village, which, if I recall correctly, is called And we're gonna fight a single goblin with 4 people. That's cool. Pretty sure the mobile version had an auto battle that was not a very complex auto battle. 1 experience. So, because Ingus is the knight, and because knight is a job that happens later in the game, he's going to be a freelancer for longer than the others. Freelancer is a base class. It has a couple minor advantages, like it's got no equipment restrictions, but that's about it. It's pretty much got the worst stats across the board. I mean, some go lower, but usually they have bigger advantages, and freelancer does not. In a way, that's a little bit dangerous because your final HP is dependent on your vitality when you gain levels. Oh, Ruffy is still blind. Does that other fountain maybe cure status problems? That would be helpful. She doesn't seem to be having too much trouble fighting. Oh, these look like the same guys. I hope they don't completely kick my ass. Oh, yeah, these are the same guys. Oh, that's rotten. Okay. What do we do? Run? Is there run? Oh, it's the shoulder button. It's not looking good for our heroes here. Hey! So what do I do? Actually grind before the first dungeon? I really just want to get my jobs. Oops. Probably could have cured blind by dying. And that still doesn't cure Refia's blindness. Cool. I wonder if it's worth buying those bronze gloves or whatever they are in an effort to live longer. It's not very, you know, mage-like, but I think the game's built around an expectation that we can equip ourselves, so. I did a little bit of kind of redundant equipment there, but whatever. Big advantage here. Yeah, this game also has a couple funny hidden stats, and I don't believe all of them are rooted in the Famicom version. One of them is there's a hidden stat that's your melee proficiency, which you just gain by attacking. So what are we gonna do? Level 6 or something, and then we'll proceed? I don't want to gain too many levels. How much experience are we actually getting here anyway? 6. Well. Am I supposed to go back to the Earth Crystal, maybe? Maybe I should go back to the Earth Crystal. I think I'll do that. I don't remember if I'm supposed to or not. Seeing those weeds in the background is getting under my skin a little bit. Been playing so much Animal Crossing, and whenever I see those weeds, I just want to pull them. And those look like the long grass you would see in Animal Crossing, I think. This music's good. I was listening to this a lot during that short stream test. Hey, this bird's all different. Oh, here's where I'm supposed to gain my levels, apparently. And here's where I'm supposed to get my equipment. kind of silly that Lunith didn't get this treasure on his way in. It's not like it's well hidden. Yeah, it's kind of silly only taking one action per battle, because this would be where I would get my job levels, really. Here's a funny thing. You get a warrior job from the first crystal. That's a pretty natural first thing to get. Um, it's in this version quite a bit different from Knight. In the Famicom version, Knight was just an upgrade of fighter, basically. But in this game, they did a reasonably good job differentiating the jobs a little bit and giving them all some longevity. So, yeah, you don't see so much that the fighter job is useless. Some people actually really like it at endgame because they have an ability that allows them to do 2.4 damage times the normal physical damage. And that's not trivial. That's quite good. There's even, some strategy that makes it not unsafe because, well, what do we do here? Don't we get to do something? I'm right out of crystal. Based on that treasure, I am supposed to be here. I've heard that the Steam version of this game is buggy, so I'm half expecting that, I'm supposed to be here and it's supposed to do something, but it's not because the game is screwed up. I guess I should go. That's a shame. I don't feel significantly more prepared for the cave. Maybe fight out one more level. Sometimes in the early game of many of these games, first of all, they were designed to be a little grindy. Ignoring that, a couple levels makes a pretty huge difference sometimes in older games. If you look at Final Fantasy 1, your survivability versus Garland between level 1 and level 2 jumps a crazy amount with just about every class. And it's because they have strong HP gains, and your HP goes up by a significant multiple. Who is this that's talking to me? Oh. Good job with the modernizing remake. I never played the fan translation of the Famicom version. I'd like to, and I still might as a part of kind of what I've been doing here, which is playing all the Final Fantasy games with these basic classic jobs. Good to see you. I think the reason I never played some of the older games with fan translations, I think a main reason was when emulation started to come along to a usable extent. I got, I don't know, SNES. I think it was ZSNES, probably a very old version of ZSNES, and I would play Final Fantasy V. Adwin, excellent, cool, good to see you. I remember your name, but that's probably not the kind of thing you say here. There's been a few good Eels CDs since we talked. You should you should listen. Yeah. But I remember playing Final Fantasy V with a fan translation, and I was like, "This is so cool! I get to try this." And it's awkward playing with a keyboard. There's already that. That's not so much a big deal nowadays, but back then, that's kind of what you had to do. And Final Fantasy V didn't emulate well, or rather, with default settings, it tended to be that everyone in the world got stuck at the ship graveyard, where there was some kind of layering issue, and all you would see was water, and it would be impossible to navigate. And so I think I, for a long time, gave up on emulation, except for the simplest things. Um, Even then, I never played much emulation. I prefer playing on authentic hardware when I can. Feels a little better having one of these goofy things. One of my friends made fun of me for having it recently when I got together with him for some games. We were playing Path of Exile, and you can't exactly do Path of Exile with a dog bone. I haven't been paying too much attention, but I don't think I leveled. I think I probably got job levels. Freelancer has traits such that it levels more quickly than other jobs. uh, you had a laptop in high school? You're not that young. I didn't have a laptop of my own until like my third year of university, and I was one of a small number who did, and I was in computer science. Very strange. It used to be that we would all fill up the labs in the hours of the evening. I was lucky to have a computer at home that had internet access that I could go work on, frankly. And that was still pretty novel at the time. Yeah, when I was playing games on my computer back in high school, early university, the laptop for every student. That's funny because that's happening locally right now, and it's a big deal that they're giving Chromebooks to the grade 10s. Um, my sister's kind of the one spearheading that initiative, and it's funny because we think, wow, how innovative, but yeah, the pilot programs of similar things have been around for a long time. I guess it depends on where people want to spend money. I was part of a fun pilot program. I don't know. It would have been in early IRC days when you and I were probably acquaintances, but I had this thing where in high school you would do these Cisco courses that were the actual Cisco Academy courses. And it was quite funny because you would do it over 4 semesters, literally 2 years of classes, and you got 4 high school credits for it. But it also made you eligible for the CCNA at a discount. Um, but the class filled up with, just 12 or so super nerdy kids in a pretty big high school. And so what we would do is we would finish the work really quickly. We'd all do a good job. And then we'd play networked games. And the hot network games you could play at school at the time were like Hearts. We'd play Grand Theft Auto 1. And we'd play the original Duke Nukem 3D. That was my experience gaming at school in high school. We didn't have DSs or whatnot. What's happening? Why aren't my people feeling strong yet? Am I supposed to be wandering around this forest, or am I doing something stupid? Have I missed something? Maybe I'll go into that, the castle towers. I think I should be strong enough for that now. Those enemies weren't that bad. Just to do something different, frankly. Unreal Tournament, it's kind of funny because of the legacy that game left, but I never played that at all. I played a teensy bit of Quake. In fact, the Quake game that I played the most was Quake 3 Arena on Dreamcast because my roommate in first year of university had a Dreamcast. We enjoyed our virtual tennis and whatnot. Virtua tennis. He had that Caution Seaman game, but we never really played that. That thing was creepy. Dreamcast, too pure for this world. Yes. And all the people who had added me on here, I hadn't seen you yet, so it's a nice surprise and a pleasure to have you typing at me. These guys look dangerous. Oh, they're zombies. In Final Fantasy 1, these guys had, what, 10 HP? Who even cares? Get out of here. This isn't going to go well now that I said that. Frankly, I haven't been streaming in a long time. I had a huge difficulty with regards to, oh, well, I had a big problems with streaming Final Fantasy V, the Steam version, and I don't know if it was because that version sucks, and it does. I think it's got some significant resource management issues. It's hurting my little PC. I don't exactly have a big gaming quality PC. I don't know if I could run Unreal Tournament, frankly. Runs Path of Exile nicely. Oh, that's a treat. I was right to come here. So yeah, I haven't been streaming in a long time, and the last time I did was just a very brief test to see if I could get this game to stream nicely, and I can, so. I really have no idea how to cure Refia's blindness. I don't believe I have access to an item shop that sells eye drops yet. If I do, I've overlooked it. I should probably throw Ark, not Bark, in the back row and have him just defend, because he's not being useful. When Path of Exile. Yeah, see, the friend I was playing Path of Exile with, we played Path of Exile together 2 years ago, before they did the big content expansion. And since then, he's taken up Diablo 3, and I didn't get it, because we fell in love with Path of Exile, and we both said, holy crap, this is the game that Diablo 3 should have been. Diablo 3 seems so, I don't know. From when it started, it was very, like, limiting compared to Diablo 2, which we loved and played like crazy for years. We considered when we got together and we're like, we're going to have a gaming day. We settled on Path of Exile. We wanted something with exploration and character customization. That was kind of the criteria we were working with. And we considered installing Diablo 2, but we don't have, you know, like actual CD keys or anything. He was like, we'll buy it from Blizzard. Well, it turns out if you want to buy it from Blizzard, you're still paying $40 or something. Because you have to buy the game and the expansion separately. So we were considering playing Diablo 2. I don't really want to play Diablo 3, and I'm not sure my computer can. But yeah, Path of Exile is pretty amazing. A while ago, I wrote one of those Game FAQs top 10 I didn't write the list, but it was 2015 or 14, whenever it was current. I called it my Game of the Year, and I contributed one of those Game of the Year lists. And I picked it, and what I wrote about it was how the socket and jewel and skill system is very reminiscent of Final Fantasy VII's Materia system, and people would like that. And the passive skill tree system is very reminiscent of Final Fantasy X's Sphere Grid. And it takes like the best aspects of... Oh. Oh, shit. I might not be prepared for this. wonder if it'll fall asleep. It's always funny when you can put flying enemies to sleep. Yeah, I kind of think Path of Exile has like the gameplay of Diablo 2, the skill system of Final Fantasy 7, and then this passive development system of Final Fantasy 10. And I consider it to kind of be the best of all the worlds that are associated with it. I think Path of Exile is a wonderful game. Yeah, I think I've heard other people defending Diablo 3 too. And I'm not too surprised. Blizzard seems to be a developer that generally knows what they're doing. Hey, lots of levels here. That's nice. Now we can go to that cave. I don't believe we can use that sword. I think that's a red mage only sword. Oh. Oh, because we're freelancers. Okay. Is that back area useful? Feel free to chime in if you know anything about this game, because I don't. Lots of arrows here. Arrows are one-time use in this game, if I recall correctly. Hey, free rest. Hey, that cured the blindness, too. What a treat. They must really want me to use bows. Yeah, the clumsy and endearing class system you describe. That's... It's funny, this job system that was, you know, later improved in Final Fantasies V and Tactics and such. There's really little purpose, especially in the original version, sticking with those various classes. Oh. Well, they tried to make the characters real characters, and that's why they're introduced gradually. At least that's my understanding. I don't... there's a lot else that's changed, really, because it used to be that at endgame, the only practical choices were Ninja and Sage, and that's not the case anymore. Every job's been given some kind of practical functionality. The melee-oriented jobs all have a special command that has some uniqueness to it, at the very least. Was any of that stuff I got actually stuff I want to use? I don't think so. Are we gonna be okay? I wonder if I should give Luneth a bow, but I'm gonna say no. No-name, jobless, familyless guys. They're still family. In fact, we're gonna see, and like spoiler alert, they're still the four orphans destined to. Yeah, and you can get Onion Knight unlocked in this game. It's not gonna end up being practical for me, I don't think. For one thing, I'm limiting myself in terms of what jobs I can use. And that's kind of the nature of these playthroughs I've been doing. Hey, that was lucky. Be nice if there was a memory cursor setting. But now the intro job is freelancer, which they've ended up using as kind of the standard nomenclature for jobless in this series, I guess now. Good choice, I think. I remember learning that the original name for the freelancer class in Final Fantasy V was, I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it correctly, but Suppin, Suppin, which they started calling Bear in the PlayStation translation of Final Fantasy V. And Suppin translates literally as no mask. So they have no mask because they have no job. Or at least I guess that's the idea. Yeah, so I think a lot has changed. I don't know how much of the core mechanics have changed. Certainly a lot of things have stayed the same. I think a lot of things have changed by necessity. I don't know my way through this cave. We're really reaching for enemy types here, guys. Never bought potions. I guess I never actually checked for an item shop. These games tended to rely on that sort of thing for a long time. Unlike, you know, Chrono Trigger or something where you never actually needed to buy an item. There was enough just stuff everywhere. Keep the game audio nearly inaudible. I can tell you it's very inaudible to me. Or very audible to me. No, that's not really intentional. I like the idea of you hearing me. Hopefully you do. Maybe I'll find a way to turn it up. In fact, it's pretty loud for me, but I guess that doesn't matter. Probably this is good, right? Did that stick? Yeah, okay. I don't know if that helped or not. That didn't seem like it made a big difference. Oh, OBS. I've misconfigured it a number of times. So we didn't have a map on the iOS version, which is what I played before. DS version I'm sure did. A map would be helpful. I mean, in the NES version, Famicom version, you certainly didn't have a map. But do these skulls or anything matter? This is going much better this time. I'm not getting my ass kicked immediately in every battle. Ooh. That's a thing I like about Final Fantasy 1. The confused status only affects enemies. It doesn't exist for the PCs. Thankfully, it's the guy who has 2 sticks. Wow, we're really gaining levels now. "15 years since you played the game." Wait, and you said you never played the 3D remakes, or? Oh, excellent. She heals me at random, if I recall correctly. I might backtrack because I missed a path that I could have gone on, and it's pretty clear I'm going the right way now. Fan translated game on a PC. Well, I'm sure there was no map on the NES version. Instead, there was the sight spell, right? That I guess they tried to make valuable. So yeah, when you have an NPC with the party, she shows up at random and does helpful things. And usually it's nothing huge. Is it huge? That'd be cool if it was huge. Helpful though. Helpful. And I believe that happened on the Famicom version. I think it happened differently. I think some of the NPC effects are stronger and better in this version. Oh, Ruffy's got a lot of hits now. I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled for those skulls. Let me handle this? Handle curing me. Okay, that's not actually handling anything, but thanks, honey. I don't say honey in a demeaning way. It should be noted I don't call my wife honey. So yeah, I've never cured the skeletons. Yeah, I agree. Maybe she'll gain levels and get smarter. This was the way, I think, I'm really bad at this without a map being given to me. Are my rows switched in the back? I think they are. Well, screw this. Chicken knife. Just trying to power up my chicken knife. So my misconfigured OBS. In previous streams I had a terrible echo. I solved that problem. I had big problems streaming Final Fantasy V. I think I may have solved that problem, but it also doesn't matter because I ended up beating the 4-job Fiesta. Yeah, I didn't use the chicken knife that much. I ended up powering it up a little bit right at the end, and it ended up coming in handy. I was playing same classes, so really that my thief was never going to be even close to competitive with my knight for damage, especially considering my knight constantly ran with the two-handed option. So where's Princess? Oh, I could use her help. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, chicken knife is pretty cool. I usually kept flea on, which was useful, getting away from randoms. Powering up the chicken knife in the first. Yeah, see, this is basically what I backtracked for. One potion. Super. Did I go up here? I did. Skull, though. No. I forget what I was talking about. Something to do with the chicken knife. I was playing with these classes, and I did Final Fantasy 1 with these classes. I used a little hack to do that, which was fun. And in this game, it's easy. I think next I'm probably going to count through them in order. It's skipping Final Fantasy 2 because it's sort of pooey. And have a look at Final Fantasy 4. And that'll involve a minor hack as well, and I'll just do that. And I've got ideas for how to make that work. Same classes for each game. The idea, and I don't remember how the idea started, but the idea is play all the Final Fantasy games with the most iconic classes, and I deemed those to be Knight, Thief, White Mage, Black Mage, represented in pretty much every game in the series. Um, ends up not being exactly true. I did a little bit of a computation, and I said, like, this game either has this class or doesn't, or maybe sort of does, depending on interpretation, for weird characters like, say, uh, Amarant, Final Fantasy IX. Is he a monk? Is he a ninja? Or should we ask? Um, so, in those cases, I counted it as a sort of. And it ends up in my little spreadsheet I devised to find out what the most common classes are. Monk was actually first. Um, I don't know why that is. In fact, I might be spouting lies. But I believe Monk was up there. The ones I picked are indeed very mainstream classes. Thief is present in a lot of games. Is that skull significant? I guess the problem with Thief is that in many cases it's not that useful. Thief is funny in Final Fantasy V. Stealing has some big advantages, but that class, except at certain little peaks in the game, there's no real benefit to having a thief on the team. In this game, I don't think it's going to end up mattering. For one thing, agility is a bit of a factor in your physical damage. I think the thief's going to end up contributing reasonably well. But then again, I don't know this game as well as I know many others. In fact, I haven't played that many of the games that I know that well. Final Fantasy I I know very well. Well, the ones that were localized for North America originally, I know well. And I'm not going to touch the ones with three-person parties, because what's the point? I'd really like to find a recovery spring or something like that. Not that I desperately need it, but it seems like there should be one. That was a long walk to get that. I thought it was going to end up being really significant. These guys have purple armor. I would think that means they're tougher than the other ones. Ooh. Oh, they're shadows. They don't look like shadows, but who am I to judge their shadowiness? Game isn't too generation with its healing. There's funny that I have a cure spell. I'm not gonna use it. In the beginning, you know, the first two towns, and they are the first two towns, but they have healing springs that are obvious. So there's that. But this game was harder in general. This game was made for the Nintendo hard generation, and I remember basically hearing, because I never got to this point in the game, that the final dungeon is a crazy, awful slog, where the minimum time it could conceivably take is more than an hour, and there's no save points. That's what people would say. People used to always say, back, you know, I was doing that Elucia BBS thing back in 1995 or whatever, and we were hearing about these overseas games we never got to play. Everyone thought all the Japanese games were way harder than all of the North American games. And maybe it was because of the shenanigans that happened with Final Fantasy IV, But everyone said Final Fantasy V is the hardest game. No, Final Fantasy III is the hardest game. No one thought that 4 or 6 were hardest, and I, I guess I probably agree with that. Um, 6 is such an easy game, and then it's funny because 7 is such an easy game. Maybe people don't want hard games. 3 hits with each dagger. That's pretty good. Why are we even celebrating these job levels? Who cares? Get over yourselves. Not important. See, now I've got a choice of left or right. Oh, okay. I think it's pretty neat that someone's job was making 3D models out of 8-bit sprites based on a dude's artwork from what at the time would have been 20 years ago. People don't want games that punish you for not using the optimum strategy. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I remember distinctly, and I haven't played Final Fantasy 13 for even a little bit. But I remember someone saying like, so many people rag on Final Fantasy 13 for so many things, but it's very much about strategic battles and not just mindlessly doing whatever you want to beat the games. And that wasn't what people wanted, was the idea there. Or it didn't seem like that was what people wanted. So games that don't punish you for not using the optimum strategy. The 4-job Fiesta is really quite neat in that you start using lesser used classes and you have to use some pretty novel tactics to beat certain parts. Or you can to simplify parts. In Final Fantasy V, almost every boss has some kind of giant weakness that's exploitable. And they're not obvious. That makes it pretty cool. The Ultima series had a lot of harder games than most of the FF titles. Yeah, but they're not even really comparable after Final Fantasy 1. The JRPG genre had not yet really emerged before Final Fantasy. But it started out being very much like a Western RPG. Final Fantasy 1 was basically a D&D simulator. You can see it in the spell levels. So many of them are based on classic D&D spells. You can see it in the enemies, many of which were mistranslated, and then it ended up staying. Like, you got your Sea Hag translated as Sahagwin, and now that thing's in every game. Ochu is one of those, and Ochu is an Otiug, or however the hell you pronounce the D&D guy. And yeah, the game started as a D&D simulator. Many of the mechanic, like Merilith having status weaknesses, a Tiamat being weak against Petrify, those things all came from D&D origins. And then the series, I guess because the first game was successful, they took some liberties and said, like, what can we do that's original and different, make it ours. I don't know if that was a legal matter or not. I would suspect not. Yeah, the Ultima game was very much its own thing. And Richard Garriott also had a thing about, we're not going to use the same system for more than one game. After a certain point he said that. I don't think that was from the outset. And then that got funny because he started wanting to use the same system. So for example, the Ultima Underworld games use basically the same system. And I guess they wanted to use the same system for Ultima 7. So they released it as Part 1 and Part 2. I don't think, like, Ultima 7 Part 1 and Part 2, great games, among my, probably my favorite in that series anyway. Um, they don't feel like one story arc. That's pretty much for sure. It's kind of a crappy time to gain a level. We're right before the boss where I think something good's gonna happen. Don't want to go in poisoned. FF's original creatures are badly drawn, translated rip-offs of D&D. That's completely true. And many of them emerged as classics. But then there's some that are very original. The Bomb is a good one. That's some good boss battle music. Maybe I should be curing my blindness, especially for the strong melee characters. It'd be nice if this guy could be sleeped, but I kind of doubt it. Yeah, I'm gonna let you handle it. What was she thinking coming into this place by herself anyway? There's a Game FAQs topic on the Final Fantasy III board that I like right now that was about, like, it wasn't the main idea, but it was a thing that happened. The dude said, how did Madonna, or Madeline, get through the cave to the sealed gate and stumble into the Esper world? And I posted my theory that she's basically Mr. Bean, and she's comically successful at things despite her idiocy. I think it's a good theory. It would be just funny, right? She'd be like, oh, here's a zombone. Oops, turn the other way. It threw a bone, it bounced off a wall and hit the guy in his head. These are my hilarious ideas. I don't write sitcoms. What do you want from me? I think Blizzard did good damage, didn't it? I also have a couple of those Antarctic winds. I see no real reason to use them. Yeah, that's pretty oh, goodness. That was trivial. Did I overlevel? I didn't mean to overlevel. I don't think I was overleveling. I leveled a little bit to get into this damn place. That is some loud cat action. The boss is just that I guess it's just supposed to be your freelancers or onion knights and if this were a D&D, yeah. Yeah. D&D monsters are like that, but then once the party reaches a certain threshold, you know, they kind of overpower any monster that you think is some amazing monster. The first time I threw a djinn at a party, it didn't end up being a big deal at all. I remember they just wiped their butt with it in about 2 rounds. It does happen a lot. Talking about normal people with no particular power and abilities, and they walk through the dungeon. I think also of back to Final Fantasy VI. You get to the floating continent, you get to the end, and then Celes walks up. You just walked through this place. This place was the hardest dungeon in the game by far to this point, and you just walked here. What other instances of that are there? Happens all the time, right? Can I skip? I don't want to screw things up, but we're just gonna watch a flashy crystal while the credits roll? The other day, my son had been asking about Thor, and a couple of movies we went to see had the Thor Ragnarok trailer. So we decided to watch Thor with him because it's on Netflix. And when the credits roll at the end of Thor, the original Thor, it plays "Learning to Walk Again" by the Foo Fighters. And what was funny was I didn't recognize the song at first. It took a minute to place it for like back at the time when Thor originally came out in theaters. What music was popular? Oh yeah. Um, and the thing my wife said was, I don't remember what this song is, but I do remember that we liked it, and then it was on too much, and then we started to hate it. And I knew exactly what it was at that time. Um, that "Learning to Walk Again." Holy crap! They played that song too much on at least our radio. Every station was and every time we got in the damn car, "Learning to Walk Again" would play, and then we'd go on like a 3-hour trip, and we'd hear the song 5 times. And it's not a bad song, but you just hear too much of it, and yeah, it's a good song for the movie Thor. Get to the dungeon boss, have a cutscene, bunch of people show up. Yeah, basically it's a Michael Bay film. The people show up without explanation, and I hope we don't have to watch the credits every time we get a crystal. Thanks. Thanks, Moogle. That was not especially useful. Did that exist in the Famicom version? Okay, job. Refia, you are a thief. Ark, you are a white mage. Basically, because you were a white mage in Final Fantasy record keeper. And Luneth, you are a black mage. He gets an actual black robe, huh? I guess my sprite's not so accurate. Can't use swords, huh? In Final Fantasy 1, the thieves could use swords. Oh. That's funny. He's gonna act like a knight, so I'm not gonna put knuckles on him. He's gonna act like a knight, is the kind of key word there. Alright. That's interesting. Oh, way more magic points. That's a treat. I played FFRK, when it was new. I did the pre-order thing to get Titus as a usable character. And there was someone else. Was it Fighter? Some bonus at the beginning. And I played it until after Super Soul Breaks. But I think before the next big new thing they started to add in. I found I was spending a lot of time on it. So I did stop playing regularly. I find it interesting, but I did kind of give up after a while. I do think the sprites are cool. You can see them there, a little bit Franken-sprited to meet my needs. Is the item shop in the inn kind of like? Oh, it is. Eye drops. I should have freaking known. Let's get several and hopefully not need them. We'll probably want a lot of these. There's not like random goodies in the inn, is there? Oh, there's people. Do I become a piano master in this game? Put a few months into the game, still think it's pretty neat. Too much of a time sink for a game where all you do is battle. Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I found it. I like the idea of making teams I really wanted to make. I liked using my favorite characters. Oh, great. Yeah. Become a level 8 dancer. Hopi shit. Alright. Do I have any benefit in talking to the elder? Am I healed? I am. Alright. What's, where's my airship? Is it across the water? Um, how'd the princess get back? Cool that the jobs display on the main play screen. Is it a long time before the next round of jobs? Could really go for night. She just checked the ring in. Did anyone get the ring out? Oh. Ah. Yes. That's a normal thing for a king to give as a present. I don't need to do anything there, do I? It was nice having a free cure spell. But I think things are going to be a little different now that I have jobs. I think survivability is going to have improved. Surprisingly, the Black Mage has considerably higher vitality than a freelancer. So Ingus's vitality is 10. Lunas is 9, but he's also got a penalty associated with having recently changed jobs. Is there a way to view that? I don't know. He has a penalty associated with changing jobs. You will take me at my word. So endgame is going to be kind of weird with these jobs. I mean, I haven't even really seen endgame. But you're kind of not supposed to use a white mage and black mage at endgame, so that'll be interesting. The knight does well at endgame. The thief is, yeah, yeah. The class stats are weird, and they I think they were revised a lot in that change from the system used in um, the Famicom version compared to the modern version. Only black magic, huh? You mean I can't sort these things? That's kind of stupid. I really want my damaging magic to appear at the left. I'm being particular now. I do that. Yeah, the class stats are funny. They all are based around thingies. I'm probably gonna end up getting all of these for free. But very natural thing for a wizard. Is this mithril armor already? How strange. This is going to make a big difference to our ability to survive in the mithril mines. May as well have waited for Refia, I guess. The Onion Knight. Yeah, I think there's only a small set of curves used in this version now. But the Onion Knight still works the same way, where his stats at like level 94 are like 15. And then suddenly he starts gaining... What the F? Oh, okay. Um... I wondered if that might have been one of those glitchy behaviors I've heard about on this Steam version. Oh, cool. Yeah, in this version of this game, he does like a large hammer attack. That's what it's called, large hammer attack. Uses 20 Coolzo points. Of course I know how to build a ram. That's the sound of a ram being built. Are we even supposed to go to the mithril mines now, or is that considered optional? Is Refia with me? No. Yeah, there's the revelation that they're actually onion babies. And they give that a little plot relevance later, is my understanding. And now we are Earthbound. Don't get too excited. I don't mean we're the game. Earthbound. What? You wrote what, but you need to understand I'm seeing your message like 30 seconds after it happens. Onion babies. Yeah, they're all orphans. Um, so there actually are those four Onion Knight orphans from the original game. Um, I don't know. My question is, can Refia equip any of the other mithril stuff? Oh, shit. She can equip a lot of the other mithril stuff. Why did I get him a shield? I seem to have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to this game. And, you know, that's cool. Why do I have... Oh, okay. Mithril armor, mithril helm. Doesn't need a shield. Could use some gloves. Now, it was those skeleton guys that clobbered the hell out of me earlier. Mithril has really been downgraded. Yeah, it's kind of weird when something as fantastic as Mithril, and I'm thinking of Tolkien type Mithril, um, what it's been reduced to, um, appearing in the second town, which is a couple steps outside the first town in this game. Kind of, it's the same sort of phenomenon where it's funny getting an airship in the first 10 minutes of the game. Um, it seems kind of anticlimactic, I suppose. That was good. That was bad. But I don't really see those two contributing a lot at the moment, so maybe they will. Those mithril rods have like 12 attack power. Could surprise me. Hey, they do surprise me. It made a sort of sense, you know, Final Fantasy 1, you got mithril in Elfland the first time, and then most of it was found in Crescent Lake. Oh, this is all the mithril mines is, huh? Um, but in the NES translation, it was just silver, and that felt kind of like sensible. Oh, he casts a fire spell. That's cool. Yeah, they in most games the airship is a huge deal. In this one, they give it to you right away and then take it away right away. Also, it sucks. It can't fly over anything. Um, this game is weird. This game feels like an amateur hack, except that I don't know. Since the 3D remake, there's kind of some production value. It's funny looking for boulders in this game because when I was playing Path of Exile with my friend recently, he made a big deal about turning over every boulder, and he'd say it every time he turned over a boulder. And turning over a boulder, well, I guess there's loose boulders in Diablo also, kind of like that. They're they're random, very low-level treasure for the area. Um, usually they'd be nothing to write home about. It ended up being a bit of a running gag for the day. But looking for boulders feels natural now. Not that I'm looking for boulders, I'm looking for sparkly random switches, because apparently this game has that. These enemies were hard not long ago. Things changed pretty dramatically. It's nice having Inga stay as a freelancer for a short while, actually, because he's keeping his number of hits and such that's normally based on job level. So I came all this way for stuff that is buyable in town. Cool. I find it funny that this enemy is called Larva. I mean, I'm sure that makes a sort of sense in the minds of whoever created it the first time. I don't know if it was a mono or what. But a larva of what? Larva suggests it's going to grow up. Maybe it's a baby cloud of darkness. That's cute. My son broke my Sonic cup a couple days ago. I drew attention to it last time I streamed. I got another one of these Mario tumblers. It's awesome. When I hear there's a city called Canaan, I think it's going to be like a parody of China or something. He sure wasn't with us very long. He was in it with us for a little while, mostly because I did, a couple random exploration type errands. A magical healing solution, eh? This is an upgrade. Yeah, I was gonna say I would find that very upsetting. Somewhat upsetting, not very upsetting. An elixir, man. In some games, that's asking a lot. Sid was the original magic pot, it turns out. Oh. Huh. I'm gonna sell that extra cure spell. Don't need that. Don't need so many mithril swords either. I have a little bit more extra stuff, but nothing that's gonna make a big deal. Okay. I sure did squander a lot of money. Time for you to get to bed. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Nice chatting with you. Thanks. Now I'll just chat with myself, because that's how this works, usually. That's all normal. I'm starting to see what might have to happen here. There's some stairs into water. And you kind of think, with game design, things are, you know, intentional. Once you see the stairs into water, you know what's going to happen. The guy in the heavy armor is running through the water. He runs pretty fast. I like the walking speed in this game. I'm sure it wasn't so nice back in the Famicom days. Should I just keep it? I bet you don't have the option. There's lots of black magic I want there. At least I'm not outfitting the whole party, though. Is that what happens when you take elixir? You stop coughing? I don't yet understand how I'm supposed to become aware of those secrets. I don't see the sparkles on the wall that were described in the first town. It says look closely. Am I actually supposed to... If I get a thunder spell, I'm going to be mildly cross. And I don't really know why. It's not the game's fault. Something significant down here. Golly. Well, I got blind, right? You got a nice house, Sid. I don't know why you make that very nice part hidden behind a wall. Should I buy this other spell, or am I gonna get it momentarily? Poison. Oh, that seems like... And, yeah, it's interesting him being in the class that he's going to be in for the rest of the game, but is this a dancer? Oh, she's cute. Dude's gonna be really sad that he just left my chat. He liked the previous dance. It was pretty clear that he liked the previous dance. Same song, eh? What about items? What am I doing? That's a funny way to get a quest. We're just randomly going looking for a guy. And that's the mountain we're going to. Am I over my transition period? My job switching transition period, not my gender reassignment period. That berserker guy was really easy before. Oh, but that wasn't so strong. Stingrays? Flying stingrays? Firefly. Of course it's a firefly. It looks just like one. Why is Lunith faster than Refia? Must be an equipment weight thing that matters in this game, to some extent. So there are differences between the white mage, black mage, and their upgraded versions, if that's how you want to consider them to be. Um, these ones get more charges of lower level magic, which ends up at some parts of the game being really helpful. I don't remember if job level increases your hits. I don't know what it does about your damage. I have a feeling there's some kind of relationship. There's usually like a job level related term in the equation, though sometimes it's not that significant. If I recall correctly, your job level affects your number of hits quite a bit more than your agility, but it matters. So the weight on the different terms varies. It's nice that defending goes first in this game. That's a real treat. In town, they told me about the white magic arrow that's effective against flying enemies. It seems like I should have that. Maybe I get that here. Ooh. I would have to think going down will be the non-direct path, which, you know, you want to get the treasure before the end of the level. And my thought is, if the dragon's at the top of the mountain, going down is a safe bet. Strategy. Nice that these are rooks and not, which I think that might be another one of those Final Fantasy isms. It's, comes from another legendary beast, but they kind of made it their own by spelling it badly. What was I trying to say? Oh, that these aren't cockatrices was what I was getting at. No one loves getting petrified. I wonder if maybe Refia should be stealing. I wonder what kind of items we might be getting around here. Probably nothing too hot. Oops. That was pointless. Oh, she gets a big flashy... Oh, potion. Yeah, we took a lot of actions in that battle. Probably everyone's going to get a job level. Basically, what I mean by that is that battle took a long time. It's probably worth it. Not that I really think about that. I like getting all the treasure. Let's see what we can do to make this go a little faster. We're going to see Ingus get the lowest HP of the group for a little while. Because he's a freelancer and he's got the lowest vitality score. At least I think he does. We can check that. But then once he becomes a knight, he'll have the highest, and he'll start to have the best growth among them. Uh-oh, might have missed one of the other paths. Nice use of stereo sound. I was pretty sure you did fight it, but you got your butts kicked. You're supposed to run? He joins our party for literally no reason? Basically because he's bored is what I'm getting out of that. Oh, it's not here. Whoops. Surely it'll be alright walking through a forest. Oh, that's what I was supposed to do. Cool. And the other people call them gnomes, but that's a misnomer. Get it? That was pretty good, right? Arrow spell? Not that I, like, really need it, but... yeah, that's exactly what I get here. Cute music. I like that they made the mini spell, you know, relevant. They did a good job designing this village, too. What? I mean, I know I complained about the lack of map earlier, but why would I pay for that? I've talked to some of these people without realizing it. Hmm. Hey. Well, I guess if I want Ark to be able to do something, I should do that. Cura, that's cool. Everyone's light sources do something amazing in this game. Oh, those tiles don't match very well. We get victory music for that? We gave a random person an antidote. I haven't saved in a long time. I feel like I should save. Eventually something's going to be hard, right? And I did notice I don't have one of those convenient quick reloads like in Final Fantasy V. Only gained one level in all that time. My good friend who joined me earlier, I don't know, Cecile? It's a weird name. Was saying that this game wasn't generous with its healing, but I'm finding I'm getting a lot of healing items. Oops. He says he's not attuned to magic. Should everyone be in the back row? Be nice if Desh just kept showing up and casting things. I forgot she's got no ability to guard. Flee replaces guard. That was stronger. That was just random damage variance. It was pretty high. I like that this happy music is still playing in here amid the giant bones. Am I okay to unmini? Or am I going to regret that very quickly? Yeah. Yeah, pretty natural that these guys are weak against fire. I find with modern Final Fantasies, the enemies are either humanoid or just weird, and the weaknesses are much less explicable. They're kind of arbitrary. Ark, you are doing great as a white mage. Those were tiny barrels. I'm not supposed to be mini, am I? Spark dagger. That sounds pretty nice. Big increase. That's going to be helpful. Let's do that. Get our mini spells back just in case. And those are all things I have access to already. That guy looks a little out of place. Is that the way forward? That was random and cool. Wow. Nice find. These all have slightly different spell powers in this game, actually, is an interesting feature. And I don't think it tells you, no. Yeah, they're all on the same spell level, but one of them is in fact stronger than the other two. I think it, and it's different at each level. Somebody spilled their drink. Okay, so that secret I had found earlier, what was the purpose of that? I thought that that was... The guy said waiting for pops? I kind of thought we were talking about the boss. Viking axe. turns out I didn't need to pay for the yen. I'm not going to use the Viking axe because it goes against my classic classiness. So, kind of pretending that Ingus is a knight. Pretending. Let us use many then. This is gonna, yeah, full of bones. Yeah, it's the exact same passage as before, I get it. I forgot to move those guys out of the back row, I just realized. It's pretty good. I'm happy with that. One of my feet's asleep right now. One of my feet's is... My feet's is asleep. Are there ethers in this game? My guess would be no. Maybe I should take it easy on the fire magic. Then again, thunder's what you really need here, and I've got my few of those higher charges. I'll just take 2 rounds, because why not? These guys aren't going to be too dangerous, are they? Potion? Oh. The only thing worse than potion. Wait. You're my offense right now. Two holes. This reminds me of a joke. A hole that leads to a staircase. Are we supposed to be fighting these guys mini? Can I unmini yet? Ah. Does the item command still get you? I believe it does still get you job experience, JP, ABP, whatever it is. You get better at things in this game. You don't really gain much in the way of new abilities. The only way you do that is the magic you learn. It's the White Slayer. I don't think it has any special properties. It's just got a cool name and a little more attack power than the basic longsword. Can the fire staff be used on both of them? No, is the answer. Nepto rat. It makes an actual pretty big difference if your NPC jumps in at times like this. I'm glad I got that fire staff. Where'd I get that? The dude that Tosis chief guy's house, right? Ooh. Ah. Yes, I just did ooh and ah. Didn't really think about it, but that was unusual, right? Normally you would bring a bunch of magic using jobs, especially um, given the mininess. I don't believe this is meant to be hard, really. Oh, that's gonna be crappy. This is gonna just take longer than it normally would. I don't think we're in any huge danger. Later on in the game, there will be huge danger. The amount of danger will not disappoint if you bear with me. Funny that the guy who kind of carried the team didn't get the job level out of that. I mean, I get how it happens, but we got a heal out of that, apparently. That's funny. Sure. I like that these are small enemies and their name is Petit. Oh, that didn't affect the other guy, huh? These guys didn't used to be hard. What happened? It wasn't like this minutes ago. It literally only affects a group? That's unusual. Everyone except Dingus that time. That's kind of funny. That time I can target all. The previous time I could not. I wonder if that could be one of those glitchy Steam behaviors they talked about. But that attack was indeed pretty strong. But we've been stealing a couple items. I bought a bunch of potions. We're not really at risk here. We got lots of consumables. I never went in that other hole. This hole. May as well try, right? Treasure chest, maybe? A couple of them. Shell helm. It's funny because they don't matter at all for when you're mini. I think those might have some kind of significant weight to them, is the idea. They're very defensive but slow you down quite a bit. About time. You haven't shown up for a long time. Freeloader. Fang of Water. Don't really remember this, but okay. More importantly, where are my fire jobs at? A lot of the time it kind of feels like this is the rough draft of Final Fantasy V. Like they just made up whatever dungeon ideas they could and then found a way to kind of connect them. You don't expect it to be heavy on plot, especially given that the Famicom version was, well, it had no characters. Do you have to talk to those Vikings? You get access to a lot of ships in this game. Hmm. Sea Elemental. I would expect this to not work especially well. Oh, but it does. Okay. Oops, I have them in the back row. Looking forward to getting Ingus's job. That's a lot better looking now that there's a letter. Yeah, it seems that people here don't like me very much. Kenpogi, huh? Wow. I don't know if a knight can equip that or not, but I'll just equip it. I guess I can equip the other serpent sword too. It's not really a big deal, is it? Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I know that the kid ran in there. I'm just looking for secrets. I'm paranoid about it now because I'm not really seeing the ones that I've gotten so far. Am I supposed to be here? Do you? I wonder how this is going to go. These might be strong enemies from kind of the next area. Oh no, I guess they're about right. So I was talking much earlier about how battles in Final Fantasy III would have a whole bunch of enemies present. And I think in this 3D remake, because it was originally designed for the DS, there were some kind of technical limitations they were up against. I think its frame rate isn't ideal, for one thing. Um, but also, I believe there's only 3 or 4 enemies maxed out in a battle, which looks funny by today's standards. By any day's standards, really. Has to change the way fights work a little bit by necessity. Where am I supposed to go? These are these Sahagins I was talking about earlier. That was some good damage. Spark Dagger is lightning elemental, so that's a factor. Maybe I should be using that gnomish bread. Get my mini-map action going. Yeah, that's a good idea. Good fight. I have no idea where I am. Oh, I think I see where I am. So Argus Castle is the castle north of me, I guess? Let's try that. Sounds like something's wrong here. Too bad I don't have that passages ability from Final Fantasy V. This game does have a bit of a penchant for hidden passages. This is a very linear castle. What is going on? Am I able to talk to Desh? Do we have a... Yeah, okay. Very insightful. Oh, whoops. That was twice for you, just in case you missed it. Can we go back to Canaan? That's over here, right? That's an ugly looking fish. Oh, it's a killer fish. That might be why. Oops, that's not Sid's house. Oh. Oh, but this is also the place where the woman was waiting for Desh. Not there. Really? That's it? Okay, no one cares. I kind of know a place I need to take Dash, but I don't know if I'm supposed to deal with what's happening in that desert first. That part's not going to be super fun. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to have another crystal before that. Ooh, a seahorse. Aw, thought it was going to be called Seahorse. Not Tangy? Tangy? Wow, he's strong. Which is funny, because he's the weakest class among them. Just a very high job level. All those hits stacking up make a pretty big difference. question is, am I supposed to be here, and will I get my butt kicked? But I kind of know this is a thing that's coming up. Uh-oh, back attack. That's not going to be fun. Haven't had a lot of back attacks so far in the game. I don't want to, spend the whole round getting my rows back to normal. So I'm choosing to try to run away. I took enough damage that I'm considering this to be a bad idea. Maybe I am supposed to go to the desert, but I don't think so. I like when he uses Thundara at a suitable time. I think maybe I should suck it up and get back in that tower. Who's Owen? No, you should attack. It seems like the design of the start of this game, at least, is kind of like there's only one place you can go at any given time, and that's how they control where you go, rather than using some form of event scripting or... Oh. We're supposed to come back with the toad spell. Okay. I don't really remember what comes next. But you know what? This might be a good time to be done. It's 1 a.m. where I am. Why am I being fancy with this werewolf? Why are you being fancy with this werewolf? These guys were not really that big a deal very early in the game. Maybe I'll go visit Princess Sarah. Is there something that happens when you visit Princess Sarah? She asked us to come visit. I wonder if we can still sleep in our bed. In some cultures, that's considered strange. It's funny. Yeah, okay. I think later on there's something significant about visiting her. I thought she gave us some kind of item or something. Because she wrote that letter saying, come and visit us soon. I didn't think that was just a arbitrary thing to write. I think I'll save and be done for tonight. Good little stream. Good long playtime by my standards. Uh, you know how that works. I'll just go stand beside the ship so I don't lose it. Cool. Okay. Thanks for watching.